Good evening and welcome to the reaction show a day after the game because we were too busy celebrating yesterday, being top of the league again and hopefully staying there for the rest of the season. But welcome anyway. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Fulham 0 was the result yesterday, which put us back where we belong on the top of the summit. And joining me for the reaction and the analysis is Mr. Sean Hurl and Positive Pav. Good evening, people. How are we? And most importantly, we're top of the league again.
Yeah, it's. I'm scared of heights, so I'm looking down on everybody.
I know. And yourself, Pav?
It feels good, doesn't it? You know, being in charge at the moment, 2 points clear. What can I say? It's a good feeling.
Isn't it? It's like that thing goes, I feel good. I know I shouldn't, but we do. Right, let's have a look. So, you both watched the game yesterday. What did you make of the game? And then we'll go into the logistics and the analysis, the teams and everything. Also, make sure everyone, if you're joining us, please smash that like button. Make sure you're following PRTvSpurs and Paxton Road TV. We all should be in a good mood. So smash that like button like we've been smashing every single team in the Prem this season. Sean, how was the game for you yesterday?
It was a curious game in the end. I kind of saw where Ange came from when he was in his post-match presser. And I was sitting with a friend of mine, and she said, "Isn't it funny how with 5 minutes to go, we're 2-0 up, and this team still puts you through the ringer." You know, that was at this point where Fulham seemed to be finding holes in our defence, and we're getting through, and you know, Vicario was having to make saves late on, which was making the game a lot tighter than it should have been. Yeah. But you know, happy enough in the end. You know, that we got a clean sheet. We did make it more difficult for ourselves, but happy days. You know.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk about what you were saying about the saves and possessions and all that kind of stuff as we move forward. Pav, what did you make of the game yesterday?
Do you know what, Sid? Sean nailed it on the head. Like, it was a good game, right? But we did make it difficult for ourselves. Second half, I'd say it was quite poor, especially in those last 10 minutes as well. But we held on, and there was a couple of chances that Fulham had, and Vicario obviously made those saves, which was fantastic. But we held our heads, we stayed on the pitch, we focused, and in the end, we got the result that we wanted, and we've just got to keep going now. But 3 points, top of the table, can't really complain. I wouldn't say that it was 100% our best game, but we can keep on moving forward now.
I totally agree. I mean, he summed it up yesterday, didn't he? The gav now, when he turned around and said he was not happy with the second half performance. First off, we was good. Second off, man was not happy. So let's have a look at what's going on here. I said, let's have a look, and then I go on thingy up. Yeah. What did you make of Big Angie's comments, Pav, when he said obviously he was happy with the first half, and then second half he was not happy at all. He said they sort of slowed down. I was at the game. I know you wasn't there, Sean, but you could sense it. Like, you know what? There was a lot of in that second half. They just sort of went slow motion. I don't know whether it's that because Fulham just didn't turn up, and we just thought it's too easy now, and we took the foot off the pedal. What did you make of that?
Yeah, do you know what? Ange nailed it on the head, because I watched the interview as well yesterday, and it's good to see that, you know, he was expressing how he was feeling, and he wasn't being completely positive. He was also showing like the negative sides, and he said that he wasn't happy, and he has every right to say that as well, because I'd say as well in the second half, like you said, Sid, we looked wobbly. We definitely did take the foot off the pedal, and we said, you know what, Fulham aren't really giving us anything. Let's just sit back a bit and see what happens. And then we had a poor second half, and that's not what we should have done. We should have carried on playing the way we were playing in the first half and got a good few more goals in. So I don't blame Ange for what he was saying. He had every right to say that. We did look shaky second half, and it shouldn't have been that difficult in the second half. And to let Fulham get hold of the ball more in the second half, it was poor.
Sean, as a Spurs fan, watching, obviously you've been watching for many years, but I'm talking about like last season, the season before, where we were losing games, we weren't playing well first half, second half, managers were coming out with crap. Is this now a fresh is it now fresh to hear Postecoglou, even though we've won, coming out and saying we played well first half, second half we were shit, and I'm not going to tolerate that. That for me is an absolute massive sign that we've got now a manager who wants football the way he wants to play it. And if they don't play it for 10 minutes or for a whole 45 minutes, he's going to come out and he's going to say it how it is, and he's going to demand more. Are you impressed with that?
Yeah, I mean, so the difference between Ange and Conte is that he's actually earned the right to criticise the team. Whereas Conte criticised the team, he criticised the players, he could criticise the club, he criticised everybody apart from himself. And to me, he didn't deserve anything. He didn't earn that right. He always made us feel like he was doing us a favour. Whereas Ange wants to be here. This is the culmination of where he's always wanted to be, is to coach in the Premier League, which is the most famous league in the world, and some of the best players and coaches in it. And he's earned that right to be critical of the team. I mean, it was incredible how we were so good in the first half, but even from the kickoff in the second half, if we hadn't scored that goal so soon into the second half, that would have been much more of a struggle, because 2-0 is bad enough to defend for us. 1-0 is even worse, And I thought from the kickoff, the second half kickoff, we were not at it. Our passing was erratic.
Yeah.
There was a spell there where I think there was 15 passes which never went to their intended target, or were just misplaced or behind them. It was embarrassing to watch, and and the substitutions didn't help. But in the end, you take your chances, and we do. We move on, and obviously we've got a game on Friday. Turns out that for example, some of the substitutions were explained away. Destiny, the best fullback in the fucking world, was feeling a bit of tightness in his hamstring, so we don't want to make him injured. And Papasar had been ill all day, so that explains why they were removed. And sadly for me, Skip didn't step up in Sar's place, and Lo Celso was a bit meh, to be honest.
We'll discuss that, as we move on as well. Good evening. What's the point, FC? Yes, we are live, and you're not typing. You are typing. We are listening. We are watching your comments. We will get to your comments. So yes, don't worry, we are live. Good evening to Matthew Bassett, and also good evening to Mr. Dinosaur. I will read your comment out, Mr. Dinosaur, later on, because you have made a valid point, and we will come to that. So let's get to this then. Yesterday, 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And here we go. Son on 36 minutes, and James Maddison with his first Premier League goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And boy, did he enjoy that goal. Right, let's break it down then. I'm gonna go with the team first, Yeah, or do you want to go with possessions and all that stuff first, and then we do the team?
No,
after?
let's do the team.
Right. So as we predicted on Friday, Vicario in goal. Oh, sorry, I've got to play this now because this is the in thing, isn't it? So we have to play this now.
Tottenham. Tottenham.
Sorry, guys, I had to play that because apparently that is the music that's been played in the dressing rooms. It was played in the Luton game, and also it was played yesterday as well. And Ange was asked the question, why is that music being played in there? Is it because you're a big Dolly Parton fan? And he said, well, you know what? He said half them team players in there probably haven't ever heard of her, but apparently that's what they're listening to. So it beats the hip hops and all that kind of stuff. Right. So, like we suggested, the actual only replacement was Højbjerg for Bissouma. The rest was the same lineup: Vicario, Udogie, Van der Vaart, Romero, Porro, Højbjerg, Maddison, Sarr, Son, Richarlison, and Kulusevski. Right, Pav. Starting lineup. Up. We'll talk about the substitutions as we go along because I'm going to do it in bit by bit here. What did you make of the starting lineup, and what did you make of the performances?
I wasn't surprised at all. I was actually very happy with Højbjerg's performance. You know, I was quite happy with the way that he played on that pitch. I wouldn't say that it was bad or anything. I'd say that he at least showed up and put in some effort, which was nice to see. Obviously, Van der Ven never lets us down, so it was nice as well. Romero, Porro. Also, Richarlison. Oh God, this is the one thing that is. Do you know what? It's so sad. Like, I was fully hoping that, you know, this was the game. I said, you know what, this is the game that, you know, he has the opportunity to score, and he just doesn't. And that first try that he had, I fully thought it went in. I was like, oh my God, it's gone in, and it didn't. And like his face as well, he looked gutted. He did, but it's sad. It is. I've said this before, and I don't really want to be negative because there is a lot of pressure on him. But I've said this already. I just don't. He's not the man. He's not, especially for 60 million as well that we got him for. It's crazy. It is. But everyone else, I'm happy with. Maddison, Kulu, Son, especially Maddison and Son yesterday was fantastic. So yeah, very happy, and can't forget Vicario as well. He was definitely a star player. 2 massive saves. So very impressed.
Good. Sam might not be here in person on screen. However, he is here in spirit, and he is in the comment section, people. So you can still interact. Sam will be there to answer as well, and he'll be here to listen to what we're saying. And if we have any negatives or positives, he will sure help us. What's the point? FC is saying here, Richarlison is way too serious. He needs to lighten up. You'd swear he was playing under a dictator. Sean, the lineup, and also Richarlison. And did you see the bit where the ball was played to him in the second half, where he had all the freedom in the world, and he tried to do his stupidness that he tried to do against Everton and lost the ball, and the manager on the touchline, hands went straight up in the air like, what the F are you doing? So, talk to me about the team and also Richarlison.
The team picked itself, really. I mean, you know, Højbjerg isn't Bissouma. He plays differently to Bissouma. He's not going to turn up. He's not going to carry the ball. He's not going to, you know, receive the ball on the half turn and spring attacks from deep. But you know, you could see certainly early in the game, Romero and Van der Ven were looking towards him and then realizing, oh no, it's not Bissouma, so we're going to have to adapt and play. And that's when Maddison took charge and came deep and started to, help out there, and that allowed Højbjerg to do the things that he does well, which is when he's facing forward, he can break up attacks. He can pass when he's when he's got the ball, things like that. But
carry on.
it's
Sorry,
very difficult. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to do that when there's a chant going on in the background. But I'm gonna defend Richarlison, because I think for the vast majority of the game, he did a lot of very unsung work defensively and offensively. The only thing that was missing was a shot on in the goal, and that's, other than that, I thought it was he aside from when he tried to be Neymar, and Postecoglou quite rightly threw his hands in the air, I thought he covered an awful lot of ground. He was very unlucky in the first half with the shot that just went past the post.
Yeah.
I don't know why Kulu tried to tee him up just before half time. What is up with Kulu? Top bins. You were doing it all last season.
Yeah.
What's happened to you this year?
Yeah.
Take the shot. Take the bloody shot, man. He was so frustrating. I love Kulu. He's as strong as an ox, but why doesn't he take a shot? It really did my head in. And one thing I'm going to say about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, he had nothing to do with the first goal, unlike what Sam is saying in the comments. That was Mickey van der Ven who made the intervention that went through. And everyone's repeating it like he had a hand in the first goal. He had no hand in the first goal. Yes, he did in the second goal, but everyone thinks suddenly he's a ball creator. It's unbelievable how they want to rewrite it. Where's open up your eyes.
Do you know what?
Open up your eyes. He had nothing to do with the first goal, but Danny Baker said it today on his podcast. Who else said it on Last Word on Spurs last night? They said the same thing. I'm going, what?
Do you know what? Being at the game yesterday, and I'm sure Sam will back me up on this. Kulu was frustrating a hell of a lot of fans yesterday, because there was that one part in the first half where he'd done so well from Romero's pass. He actually rounded the goalkeeper, and then instead of shooting, he's gone for a pass to, I think, Højbjerg or Richarlison. And the whole crowd's gone, what are you doing? You've had an open goal. Literally, you've just rounded the goalkeeper and you've opted not to shoot. And there was a lot of instances in that half yesterday, and I agree with you, Sean. He's lost this ability now to start shooting. He just wants to try and tap the ball in or tee up for someone else when he's got a better chance of shooting. And he's not just shooting anymore, which is, I don't know if I'm seeing something different, but I think he's just lost that, whether he's scared or not. In terms of Richarlison, I think there's going to be a time now, I think, starting on Friday, where I honestly believe Johnson will start. I think we're not going to lose patience with him, but I think it's just not happening at the moment for him. I agree with you. There was some moments in that game, that shot he had in the first half, where we thought it was all going in because the way he teed it up as well. Then there was that shot in the second half where we had a great move, and then he absolutely rosetted it. Yeah. I think Højbjerg had a decent.
But other than that, I thought he had a decent game. So did Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, but he had nothing to do with the first goal. Go back and watch the video. Mickey van der Ven is getting shade thrown on him when it was him that made that interception from Paxton.
It was him that made the intervention. Yeah, he was the one that got the ball.
So, I mean, you look at the size of them. You can see the difference. It's not like they're two players of the same size. But God.
Right, Sam saying here, Kulu's too slow, and he's another who may be under a lot of pressure for his place. I agree.
I don't think so. I think he had a poor game yesterday, but he was really, really important in closing out the game against Luton.
Yes.
I think he's done a lot of good stuff. He just won't go top bins.
Yeah,
And you know, you think about that goal he scored against Norwich when we clinched the Champions League. You know, and there again, he tried to pass to Son to help Son get his golden boot. And then he said, I'm not doing that again because they made an arse of it. And then he stuck it in the top bins. Do it again, Kulu. Do it often. Do it every week.
I agree.
You're in that opportunity.
So, as it was yesterday, Pav, talk me through this then. So, overall, 56% possession. Fulham had 44%. We had 15 shots on goal. They had 10. We had 5 on target. 3 to Fulham. 3 corners and 5 corners to them. Overall, then, do you think that justifies the performance yesterday? We had 56% possession.
Yeah. We were definitely the team that had more on the ball, and we were more dominant. And in terms of like the rest, shots on target, we had a lot of opportunities. We did. I think there was the Richarlison one. There was a couple more as well, and you lot mentioned about Kulu as well having an opportunity and just not taking it. But it goes to show these stats have just shown how we were performing in the game. More on the ball, more opportunities, more shots. Yes, they had more corners. It doesn't matter. More shots on target. Yeah, we dominated that game. We were more creative rather than Fulham. Fulham didn't really give us anything. I'd say maybe more in the second half, but we were the team that created more chances.
I think they had 2 chances, didn't they? Polino's header, great save, and then Jimenez's shot again, great save. But for me, I think Williams, no matter what, booing and everything, I think he spurred him on, and I think he had a very good game for them. And every time he got the ball, you know, he was a threat, absolute threat. Sean, I'll come to you in a second. Pav, whilst we're doing this, I've also got a little bit of extras today as well. So we had 5 shots outside the box, 3 to Fulham. We had 10 from inside the box, 7 to Fulham. Shooting accuracy was 33.3%. They had 30%. And the passing accuracy was 87% to their 84%. Yes. I think shooting accuracy should have been a little bit better. I don't know if we said it all, but from the offset, the passing and the shooting was very poor. It was like, wasn't together. I think you mentioned it earlier as well. What did you think of that, Pav, as well? All this 5 outside the box, 10 inside the box. Do we need to start shooting more from outside?
Yeah, I think so. Do you know what? There is a couple of opportunities that we have had, and even in previous games as well, but it looks like we're scared to take the opportunity. It looks like we're going more inside the box than taking it outside of the box and just shooting and having a go. And I don't know what it is, but it seems like the team does do that quite a lot, where they'll go more inside rather than, if there is an opportunity, to take it outside the box and just give it a go. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether they're scared or they're not that confident, but I think it needs to be improved in that aspect, because especially with Maddison as well, because Maddison's got a good foot on the ball. I reckon he could score a good few goals, especially outside of the box.
Yeah. Sean, overall, do you want me to go back, or are you?
No, I mean, I think the stats show that it was a much more even game than the scoreline suggests.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, I would say probably Fulham's possession stats went up in that second half, where Willian seemed to have the freedom of the left-hand wing. I thought he was ably helped by Robinson, who I think is a really good left back, and he impressed me in the Carabao Cup game as well. He's a really good player and as rapid as well. Incredible, you know, signing that they've got out of it. He came from Wigan, I believe, Robinson. So yeah, really good player. As Sam has alluded to, William was like he was 22.
I know.
32. He's a really, really good player, and you know, it seemed, as you say, the booing seemed to spur him on. You know, And I seem to remember him scoring 2 goals for Chelsea against us in a league game not that long ago. So yeah, he was a threat. I mean, but yeah, you look at our shooting accuracy, for example, that figure you got there.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that there was a Højbjerg shot which Leno had to save. There was a Maddison shot in the first half which he's kind of scuffed. The 2 goals. Can you remember? I
Son
can't
had
remember.
one. I think Son had one.
Yeah, well, the one with the outside of his foot. Yeah. But that was it. That was it. You know. So although we had shots, they weren't accurate, and you know, I mean, it was a much more even game than the scoreline suggests. And just right to keep them right. You didn't impress me. I mean, I had shades of Conte ball later on in that game when we kept turning backwards, and going backwards, and I could, you could see that he was like a, there was a Greek volcano almost on the side of the pitch, because and Maddison admitted so much in the post-match interview he gave to Spurs TV, where he said, well, we've all got in buzzing, we've won the game 2-0, and he said he let us know he was not happy.
Yeah. And
they'll have to take it on board,
Yeah, exactly. And also, what you were saying about the performance and that, right? Them 5 shots, I was listening on the way home from the game, I was listening to Talk Sport, obviously, and a Fulham fan came on, and he actually said, do you know what? Yes, you won 2-0, but apart from the 2 goals, he said, what did Leno have to do? He said he had 2 shots to save, and that's about it. He said, your keeper made 2 outstanding saves. And he said, if that Paulinho one went in first, he said it would have been a different game. So he goes, at the end of the day, yes, you won the game, you dominated, but you didn't test our keeper that much. And I thought, you know what? And O'Hara and Kunde, they agreed. They said, you know what? You're right. But the fact is, Spurs got the points. But, you can't be convincing every single game. This is the kind of games where you can play well for 35, 40 minutes, get the game won, and then you don't play well. Whereas before, we probably would have drawn this game, or, because remember last season, was it last season or the season before, when Wilson came off the bench and they managed to sneak, was it a 2-2 or a 1-1 at our stadium, and Wilson scored, remember, in the last 5-10 minutes to go. They put us under pressure. That's the kind of thing now where under Postecoglou, we win the game, but we're not playing brilliantly, and he told them that, but we still got the points. The other thing I want to show you as well here is just to emphasize the shots and stuff, is this. So the XG 1.64 and theirs was 0.75. Now, all these dots are where the shots were taken from, right? So, for example, this was a Pedro Porro shot. This one was, I think it was a Son shot. The stars are the 2 goals. So that's the Son goal, and that's Maddison's goal. But like I said, 5 shots outside and all the rest from inside the box. We can talk about it on that slide where it says we had 5 and 4. This actually tells us where the shots were taken from. So looking at that, Pav, does that make more sense now that look at the shots we're having and look where we are with the shots?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that we've done more so inside the box rather than outside. Like you said, there's 5 outside of the box?
5 outside, yeah.
Whereas the rest were inside the box. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think, but it seems like we are more confident with shooting inside the box than outside. And I'd like to see us getting a bit more creative, taking shots outside as well. I think what we're doing is we're really confident with getting inside the box and having an opportunity there and getting closer to the goal, rather than if there's an open space outside of the goal, taking it from there.
Yeah. And it's like Sam said here, Sean, the team are being coached to play to get goals inside the box. However, I agree they should shoot from distance more. You agree with that? Because
well, yeah. I mean, the reason I agree with that is because I've seen Ange for 2 years up here, playing it down the road at Celtic, and that was how they scored. They would get to the byline, they would cut it back, or they would run it along that sort of corridor of uncertainty, I think the coaches call it, between the defenders and the goalie, where neither of them want to go for it in case they parry it into a chance for an attacking player. But that is the style that he wants, or the way he wants to score goals. But I do feel that we are missing opportunities, and it was quite frustrating to see. I think Højbjerg had a shot from outside the box. Actually, that one of those shots was Højbjerg, wasn't it? Which was sort of to Leno's left. But I do feel that they need to work on some long range shooting, because they are getting opportunities which they are not taking, and it's a bit disappointing. Because I want more goals. Absolutely,
and you could see yesterday, and I'm sure Sam will agree. Every time we was in a shooting position, the crowd was saying shoot, shoot, shoot. But for some reason, they just didn't want to shoot, and I don't know why. Obviously, they're trying to get it into the box to walk it in, and there was a few times. I mean, we'll talk about the Maddison and Son incident towards the end. But what I want to talk about now is, so we've done the team, and then we're just going to go in sequence. So, Son's goal. What did you make of the goal, Pav?
Amazing. Class goal. Yeah, I loved it. How many minutes was it in? Was it 36 minutes in? Yeah. Wicked goal.
Yeah. Sean, what did you make of the goal?
Yeah, that was probably when we were at our best. Was that period leading up to half time? In fact, half time came at the wrong opportunity for us. I would say, that we were really starting to string passes together. We were getting opportunities. He did benefit from a bit of Keystone Cop defending, though. Did you see where Bassi and Ream kind of ran into each other?
Yeah,
and it allowed him to just sidestep them and put it into the corner. And I noticed that I didn't realise that he was at Leverkusen with Leno, so that they know each other. They're in fact they're friends, I think, away from the football. And Leno was actually saying, "Will you stop scoring past me in that corner?" Because it was pointed out to him that it was against Leno that he scored one of his goals against Arsenal as well. The one that was long way out and he just curled it into the top corner. I just wish someone else would have a go at putting them in the top corner. But I think I'm sounding like a broken record now. So
that's all right. What did you make of Maddison's goal?
I thought the build-up play was. The pressing. That was the thing that really, really impressed me. And that was the one moment of quality in the whole of the second half for me. Was the goal. And other than that, I would say our performance in the second half was shocking. To be fair.
What did you make of the goal? Maddison's goal?
Yeah, same as what Sean said as well. The build up to it was pretty good, but after that, we just went downhill. It seems like after those two goals, we were like, "Yeah, we got 2 goals now. Let's just sit back." Fulham aren't really doing anything, and then that's when Fulham started getting the opportunities. Which we shouldn't have done.
And that's a Conte mentality.
Yeah,
that is a Conte of game management. And that is not Postecoglou. He wants to go for 3, he wants to go for 4. And there was one moment that's really summed it up for me. We had a breakaway with Royale. Now, Royale looks like a sort of a deer on ice playing at left back. But there was one point where he moved up the field, he had players coming in support, and then he got to about 30 yards from their goal, he suddenly slows down.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He suddenly slows down, and by that time it allowed Fulham to reorganise, and they robbed the ball off of him. And then it put us under pressure because he's up there, and a ball over the top, and they got a chance.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it was so frustrating because we could have added goals. We had breakaways, but the passing was poor. It was like they weren't committed enough. They thought that they'd won the game. And if anything has taught you, if you've been in the game as long as some of those players have, that the game is not done until the referee's blowing that whistle.
And
at 2-0, you give your opponent one goal, suddenly it's a whole different ball game.
And you know what? Some of the intricate passing and some of the stuff that we done in the first half, it was some of it was absolute joy to watch. Some of the way in the penalty box where they were like running in and then doing the back heel and whatever, and we didn't score from that and that. But there's a few times where the crowd was off their seat, and then in the second half it just went absolute to pot. Right. So substitutions: Emerson Royal for Destiny Udogie. Skip came on for Sarr. Johnson came on for Richarlison. Valise came on for Son. And Lo Celso came on for Maddison. Right. I'll have my say, and then I'll have you two to say. I think Skip was poor. I think Emerson Royal done all right, but him and Poro kept switching left and right, and then they kept going back left and right. I don't think any of them was comfortable playing left back, so they kept switching. I think Valise ran, he done what he could, but wasn't given the ball enough. I think Lo Celso, for the minutes that he had, wasn't really convincing. And you might not like me for it, you might hate me for it, but I think Johnson was quite poor when he came. I know he's just come back from injury, but I think he was poor. Maybe it's just a bit of lack of fitness. Maybe Postecoglou wanted him to come on for the last 15, 20 minutes to get fit, so he starts on Friday. But for me, overall, the 5 substitutions were not helpful at all. It didn't make us go forward at all. I think, in fact, it was dross. Football was dross second half. I don't know what it was. I don't know why Son and Maddison were both taken off, maybe to keep him fit. Maddison didn't play in the last England international, so he could have played the full 90. Okay, Son played. But for once, you've got to say Postecoglou's substitutions were not very convincing at all. Pav, what did you make of the substitutions and some of the performances of the subs?
I think they were all poor, to be honest. I think, Royal was okay. I wouldn't say he was great, but I think all of them were poor. I don't think any of them really showed up. Lo Celso was utterly poor. Johnson, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because obviously he's just come back from injury. So do you know what? He just needs to build up his confidence again. And then obviously you have Skip and then Valise. But yeah, I think very, very poor. I think what concerned me was when Ange had taken off the front three. Maddison, Son, and Richarlison, and then we had like 10 minutes left, and the way that we were playing, it was shocking. And it just goes to show that what's going to happen if, say, for example, I don't know, say all 3 of them get injured or something happens to some of them. What are we going to do then? Because that looked really, really poor.
Yeah.
And it's something, I guess, to consider come January about what we can do to sort that bit out as well. Obviously, I've just seen what Sam said in the comments as well. It is, I get it. Not all of them were up to their standard, players and stuff. And some players were feeling rough or whatever. But it's still concerning when we've made those subs and they're not really doing anything.
Sean, do you think we were harsh on assessment on the guys? Think some of the team ended the game also based on what Sarr and Udogie were both not 100% after 9 games, 4 wins from 4 at home. Do you think we're being harsh, or is it just?
Well, there is a problem. There is a problem that we don't, because we don't have any midweek games. We're not in Europe.
Yeah,
we've managed to get ourselves eliminated from the Carabao Cup. These players aren't getting a chance to play.
Yeah.
And you do need a rhythm. But having said that, the drop off, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Fulham came back into the game once the substitutions have been made, which is not Postecoglou. Normally it's energy. I was looking for a big audition from Lo Celso. There was one point where he broke away, as we used to see him when he did, which he used to do under Mourinho, and then his pass was just to nobody.
Yeah.
Leeds must have gone, I thought you were here to help me, mate. You're my Argentinian mate, and you've gone and done something like that. And then I've already said, you know, Jodi, from what I understand, did feel something in his leg, so you obviously have to protect him. Sarr had been unwell. My biggest disappointment was my man Skippy. He just did not step up, and there was one wild thing where he got involved in a tackle, and then he just slashed the pass across the field, and it was like behind the player. So it took all the momentum. The idea was right to get it across the field, but it was behind the player, and just little things like that. I mean, things that Sunday Park players know. You put it in front of the player to for them to progress, and we just stop. You just stop playing, and it's a difficult one. But when you make as many substitutions, and some of them were forced. Sarr was not very well from all accounts, and they said that the most they could get. And those first two substitutions were made after 60 minutes.
Yeah,
really early, even by Postecoglou's.
I think Udogie was injured, wasn't he? Or he wasn't. You could sort of see he wasn't too well, so I think he had to make that substitution. And Sarr clearly wasn't fit. And I think Postecoglou did say that he wasn't 100%. He wasn't well, but he wanted to play. So he goes, I said, go on, you can play. And then obviously he weren't going to be fit for the full game, so he took him off. We've just got a comment here from Dino so that he put right at the beginning, and I want to ask, because now Sam's in as well, I want to ask you, Sean, as well, and Pav. On Friday, when we done the preview show, we was talking about, or was it on Talking Points? I think you mentioned about players that
Friday night was Talking Points. You did the preview on Sunday, did you not?
That's it, Talking Points. Yeah, he said, "Good evening, Ange family. I was shocked that no one on Friday's panel wanted a forward on loan in January. Without Son, I worry who is going to score the goals and cover." I'll start with you, Pav, first. Has he got a point there? We all said we wanted a centre back and a midfielder on a winger, but not one of us mentioned that we needed a striker. Do we need one on loan?
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? Dino makes a point in a way, because obviously if we lose Son and Son gets injured or whatever he's needed for something else, whatever, then there is that aspect of where's the goals going to come from, because I can't really rely on Richarlison. But that being said, I still think that Ange's system isn't relied upon a striker like that. I feel like everyone's got an opportunity, and obviously you get the goals from Maddison as well. Kulu has an opportunity, and other players as well. So I don't think it's a massive issue where it should be a priority in a sense. I think that the team, if that was the case, I think the team would step up, and I think And would have something in the bag. So I wouldn't say it's a priority, no.
Sean, thoughts on that?
I'm thinking that maybe they're trying to see what Valise can do.
Yeah.
And if Valise does start scoring, then that doesn't become an option. But I would imagine that there will be discussions in recruitment about what we do. Because I was looking at the dates earlier for the both the AFCON and the Asian Cups, and they kind of run into February. Now, during part of those tournaments, there's actually a winter break in the Premier League this year, so we won't actually be playing any games.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be quite as if, but it's if South Korea go deep, or if Mali go deep, or Senegal particularly probably will go deep into the AFCON, then we will face a problem. But so that's probably why I wasn't my eyes wouldn't have been fixed on a striker per se. I think they're trying to see whether Valise can do it. They're also they're obviously trying to hope that maybe even Brazil's number 9 could actually score a goal or two. But that's I'd imagine that they will cover for all eventualities, and that's probably why I'm not overly concerned. But for me, an injury to Romero or an injury to Van der Ven is far more crucial because we cannot, I mean, good professional that he is, Eric Dyer is just not. He's just not a high line player. He can't do it. He's just not quick enough. And we saw what Van der Ven did last night. There was quite a few times that he had to put the burners on to clear the line. And I know at one point the fans are appreciating it by singing his name. So centre back is definitely much more vital. And
right. So, question: Sam's posted on here, and we're gonna quick answer. No going into it because I want to go watch, eat, and go whatever. Right. Okay. I'll ask this question then. And Dinosaur might, if he's in the stream, might want to answer this. You get one top class signing in January. Are you going for a centre back or a striker? Sean, CB or a striker?
Centre back.
Centre back. Pav?
Centre back.
You're going for a centre back as well. Okay. Sam saying he has to be a centre back. I saw Royal. He's no Udagi. We are one injury away from Eric Dyer. Let that sink in. He's saying Ash Phillips is untried and untested. We can carry Richie. We can't carry Dyer. Cantab in the house is saying a striker. I personally, this is my opinion, and only because of the Asia Cup. If Son is going to go, I don't trust Richarlison to get us the goals unless he puts Johnson up top. With the centre-back situation, the way these two are playing, and I don't want to say it because if I say it, then I might jinx them, but I think the way these two are playing, unless something horrific happens in terms of an injury or a tackle, I can't see them getting injured because they're not diving into tackles. They're not doing anything stupid. You know what I mean? So for me, I think I'd rather have a striker, especially if where we are come January, we're going to need a striker to get some more goals if we're there or thereabouts, top 1 or 2. But time will tell. Let's see what happens in January. Right, so we move on to Friday. Crystal Palace away. Monday and Friday. Sean, have we got enough time then for the 3-4 players that came off carrying a little bit of knocks? I'm even including Maddison and Son and all that. Are we going to be okay for Friday?
Yeah, I mean it's not ideal, but yeah, I think we can certainly over 3 days recover those players.
Yeah,
I'm more concerned about the 2-day break we've got later in this year when we play City on a Sunday and West Ham on a Tuesday. And that's nonsense. Yeah. One thing I want to say before we move on, Sid, was what did you think of the referee? I thought Paulina should have been red carded. 14 fouls, I think he committed, and didn't even get a yellow card. In fact, the only 2 yellow cards were issued were to Højbjerg, where William done him and didn't actually get connected, and conned a card out of what's his name? The referee, Anthony Taylor. Yeah, and then Vicario got one for time wasting, taking a free kick. Yeah. And yet the kickings that Maddison got from minute 1, not one of their players went in the book. Yeah. And I just thought, hold on a second, there's something going on here, because I think they're starting, you start to think, is there an agenda just because we managed to do over Liverpool? That we're going to, finish up with players getting injured. Shocking.
He didn't have the best of games. I agree with you, Sean. He didn't have the best of games. Before Højbjerg got the first yellow card of the game, you were right. There were so many tackles by them, blatant tackles and pulling them back and blah, blah, blah. And he just let it roll. And I said to my son, I said, the first booking is going to be one of our players. Watch. And it was Højbjerg. And then Vicario won. You can understand that, yeah, he shouldn't have wasted time, but it is what it is. But they should have at least had a couple of yellow cards. And I agree with you. I think the referee was quite poor in some decisions that he made. Pav, what did you think?
I thought the ref was awful as well. I think Fulham were at like the first half, especially, they were playing quite dirty, and they looked a bit rattled. So that's the way that they were trying to play, and they did commit a lot of fouls. But yeah, they got away with a lot, I'd say. And I was shocked when Højbjerg got that card. Shocking. And then obviously Vicario then for time wasting, which is bizarre. But yeah, officiating nowadays is just rubbish, isn't it? It's just ruining football.
Yeah, that's right. Right, so top of the league, 2 points clear. We've not lost a game yet. Postecoglou has now bettered the record for the most points from a Premier League manager in history, overtaking Gus Hiddink and Mr. Walker. We go to Friday at Crystal Palace. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think it'll be a lot tougher than yesterday. I don't think Fulham turned up. I think it'll be a lot tougher game. Obviously, we'll do the preview on Thursday, I think, or I don't know. Well, it'll have to be Thursday Thursday's going to have to be, isn't it? Because if we're playing on Friday. Final thoughts then on the win yesterday and the game against Crystal Palace on Friday, Pav.
Well, this game, it was good to see that we've got the 3 points. We can do a lot better in the next game. Palace away is, like you said, Sid, it's not going to be an easy game. I'm actually quite nervous about that game because it tends to be those types of games that we drop points. But we've got to keep our heads screwed on and just keep moving forward and play the way that we play, attacking football, and just go out on that pitch and show that effort and get those 3 points. I reckon it's going to be a draw, but even better if we get those 3 points. But yeah, the lads have just got to turn up. That's all I ask, is just turn up onto that pitch.
Fair play. Sean, final thoughts on yesterday and then going into Friday.
Well, the history books will just say it was Tottenham 2, Fulham 0, 3 points. And that's probably the way we have to look at it. I mean, we're arguing over minutiae, to be honest. But, we want our cake and eat it when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur. And we got the cake, but I don't think I got a chance to eat it yesterday, is how I feel. On Friday, Palace. Yeah, Palace are a strange team, aren't they? I mean, they can get really good results, but they are severely weakened without Elise and Eze. And obviously Zaha's left. So, I mean, yeah, I'm confident that we'll win the game, but it's, you don't know. I mean, it's a tight ground. The Palace fans do give us a bit of atmosphere. But, I'm hoping I'm seeing smiling faces and more Dolly and Kenny at the end of the game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's fine.
Absolutely. And as Sam would be going, whoa, 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 whoa. Anyway, David Clark, you are not alone. Am I the only Spurs fan on this planet that, apart from his workmate, which is a given, that Kulu was woeful? Nearly cost us 2 goals with his ridiculous passes and on breakaway, his useless final balls. We've already discussed that, David. We do agree with you. And Sam's even put on there in the group as well. I don't know. He's just lacking something. But yes, you are not alone. Don't worry. Right. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Pav. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, David. Thank you, Kanta. Thank you, Dino Dinosaur. Thank you, What's the Point FC. Thank you, Toxic Headshot. If I missed anyone else out, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Please make sure you subscribe to Spurs, PRTvSpurs and Paxton Road TV. If you haven't already subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you follow us. Hopefully, you will see us on Thursday for the preview show for the match on Friday against Crystal Palace, where we will go 5 points clear at the top of the league before Saturday games come into effect. That's about it. Tottenham to Fulham 0. Son and Maddison, the double act, do it again. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more Paxton Road TV content coming up. Enjoy your evening, whatever you're doing. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's get back to winning on Friday and get to top of the league.
More developed football, more developed football.